Hey guys, my name's Aaron from Geeky Development and welcome to our Xcode tutorials. And in this tutorial, we're going to be creating a contact form within our application. Now this is great for if you're creating business apps or you just want an extra dimension where you want the ability for your users or customers or potentially new customers to have the ability to contact you via the application. And how we're going to do it is create a simple contact form with UI text fields. These fields have the ability to enter their name, their email address, and even a small little message which will get populated into an email and then get sent directly to you. So let's jump straight into it and create our contact form. Okay then, so the first thing we're going to do to create our contact form is set up our interface to add all the outlets that we need so we can then populate our mail view controller. So already I have my project set up. It's a simple single view application for the iPhone and I've simply named it Swift Contact Form for the purpose of this tutorial. So what we're going to do then is first head over to our main.storyboard. I'm going to quickly change our interface here to an iPhone size. There we go. And I'm going to start to add in our objects. So we're going to use three pieces or three objects that are going to populate our mail view controller. These three objects are going to be simple text fields. We're going to have a field for our user to enter their name, a field to enter their email address, and again a field for the message they want to type in, basically to send us. So how we're going to do it then is we're going to set up a simple contact form. Very easy for them to understand and basically what we require them to enter in each field. So this first label here is just to demonstrate this will be the name field, and then we can drag and drop a UI text field underneath and then space it out. If I highlighted this, copy and paste it so we can add in three altogether. So that will be the kind of basis of our contact form. It's a nice simple form, but it's very effective to add into your applications. So this can be the email, and then this can be the message. So it's, again, a very basic one. You can add as many fields as you possibly want. Maybe you want to get their phone number or anything like that, any extra information that you may require for them contacting you. So obviously we got their name, so we know who they are. Their email address, so we can, choose to store that email for like mailing lists or anything like that, or again to contact them back on. And then the message for that, basically what they want to ask you. Now within these fields, we can then pre-populate them with placeholder text. And what the placeholder text is, it's kind of like a faded out background piece of text. So you can kind of roughly, again, as well as the label saying that this one is the name, you could say, put in John Doe. So by John Doe, when they go to enter and start typing in, the text or the kind of placeholder text will then disappear from the view. So for the email, again, we can just make up one, abc@123.com in the placeholder text. And then for message, I can just put hello. So as well as having the labels that demonstrate which the fields are, we got placeholder text to tell them, kind of give them a basic information to what to place within them. We're also going to need then a button. Now this button at the bottom here is going to be what they press to send the email. So by pressing this, it's going to then load up our mail view controller, which will populate the email view with all the fields within our UI text fields ready to send to ourselves or whatever email address you preset it to. So we've got all our objects in. We're now going to click the file's owner and bring up the assistant editor, where we're now going to add in our actions and outlets. So if I space out our outlet field here and we start with our text fields, so we'll add this one in. I'll simply call it the name field, add that in. This next one is the email field, add that in. And then finally the message field. Also add that in. We're then going to create an action for our button. So I'll space it out just below. Place it in, make sure it's an action. And I'll simply name this send and connect that up. Okay, so we've got all the actions and outlets that we're going to possibly need. There's one more action that you will need. Now with the latest versions of iOS, you kind of already have the ability to dismiss the keyboard from the text fields. Now, if you're trying to create for a lower version, maybe iOS 7, 6 or 8 or anything like that, a bit lower down, you may want to kind of set up a configuration to allow you to dismiss from the keyboard. Now, this again, it's only supporting lower versions. So if you want to learn how to do that, we can simply select our key text field here, right click and drag it over, and we're going to create it this time as an action. Making the event did end on exit, I'll simply call it dismiss keyboard and create that as an action. And then within it here, I'll space it out, just simply type out self.resign first responder. So by doing that, it means that when our user presses the done button on the keyboard, it will then dismiss it. And again, this will support lower versions of iOS, as the latest ones kind of don't really need it. So it's a kind of handy tip to add in. So once you've got that in, then we're going to close the assistant editor. Now we've only added that action to our first UI text field. So within the connections inspector here, drag it down, get our dismiss keyboard action and drag and drop it over to our second one. Did end on exit. And then finally our third one did end on exit. So this dismiss keyboard action now is linked to all three of our text fields. Then select all three of the text fields once more. Go to the attributes inspector and then return key, simply set it to done. So again, this is only supporting lower versions of iOS, but it's great to have it in anyway. It's kind of, if all else fails, it's going to dismiss the keyboard no matter what. So we've got it all set up then, and all we need to do now is head over to our viewcontroller.swift to start coding and get the ability to load up email and populate it with our text fields. But first, we need to import a certain framework to allow us to send emails. So go to the project name at the top, go to our build phases, and then drop down our link binary of libraries and press the little plus symbol. Then to simply type out message and add in the message UI framework into our project. Once that's in, go over to our viewcontroller.swift, and then just underneath the UI import UI kit here, again do import, and this time we're going to import our message UI framework. So we've imported that in, which now gives this viewcontroller.swift class all the capabilities to reference, again, that framework, again, to have the capabilities to send email within our application. And because we're working with email and we want that view to load up above our current view when we send it, we need to add in the mail compose view controller delegate. So just after our UI view controller here, we do a comma, and then we're going to add in our mf mail compose view controller delegate. Again, this will give us the ability to load up the mail view over our application. Again, so once we've added it in, we can now go to configure our send button. So just for the purpose now, I'm going to space it out so we can clearly see what we're doing. I'm going to move the dismiss keyboard further down. Now again, that's only for lower versions of iOS, so it's up to you if you want to add that in if, again, you're creating an application that supports later versions. So for our send button here, what it's going to do is going to basically configure our email view, our mail view controller, to load up over our application. It's then going to take the free text fields and then the information within it to populate our email. So first then we're going to create a let, and this is going to be to our recipients. So simply I'll call this one to our recipients. Make sure I spell it right there. Our recipients, and it's going to equal an array. So create our array there because we can send it to multiple email addresses. So if I just say we're going to send this email to abc@123.com. Again, if you're creating this contact form within your own application, maybe if you're a business or anything like that, and you want, again, the users, when they send the email to actually come to your own email address, then again, obviously you place in your own email address. If you want to add in multiple emails, just do a comma and then continue to place in between all the quotation marks the email addresses you want it to be sent to. Again, making sure that a comma separates all of them. So once we've got that in, we're then going to begin to load up our mail compose view controller. So we create a let and simply call it MC for mail controller for short. And that's going to be linked to our mf mail compose view controller. And it's going to equal our mf mail compose view controller with our 2 brackets at the end. So then we're going to set our MC dot mail compose delegate, which is just there, to simply equal itself. So again, that links to the delegate there, so it gives the ability to load it over a view and become the kind of current view. We're then going to configure the email. So MC, what we shortened it down to, set to recipients, and again we've already pre-configured an array to add a multiple in, to link this to our recipients just like that, and close that with a bracket there. Then we get MC this time to set subject. There we go. Now in this subject string here is what's going to be the title of the email. Now again, it's up to you what you want to place in there. If you want to place it in a string, you can put in there whatever you want. You can pre-configure it to have a determined title, but we're going to set it to the user's name that's sending the email address. So what we can place in then is our name field dot text, and then we do our exclamation mark there for the optional wrap to convert that text over into a string to place in. Then space it out a little bit more, then we're going to set the message body. So MC again dot set message body. Now this one's going to be quite long and maybe a bit confusing at first. So it's going to initially equal a string. So in the string, we want to set out the contact form into sections. So we're going to have name, and the name is going to simply equal, and we need to get the text from our name field placed in between this section of our string. So we do the backslash, 2 brackets there, then our name field dot text placed in with our exclamation mark for our optional wrap there. So what that does, it places the name field text in between that string, and that's how we've configured it. But then we need to add in our email address and message. Now I could continue to go email and then do the same, so on and so on and so on, but it's going to display all this information on one line. I need to have the ability to be able to enter a new line. So if I do the backslash and the letter N, backslash and letter N, the backslash and letter N is the kind of shortcode within a string to enter a new line. So if I place in 2 of them, as you can see I've just done there, it will then move the email onto the next line. Because I've done 2, it will put a space in between it. And then I continue to do our backslash with our 2 brackets there. For this time, our email field dot text with our exclamation mark for our wrap there, space, and then again our message, and then backslash there, our 2 brackets for our message field dot text with our optional wrap, just like that. Now again, this may be a little bit confusing, like I did say, it may be a bit confusing at the start, but once you've built and run it a few times and you kind of play around and see exactly how it works and how it configures the string, then it's pretty easy to understand. But we'll come back to that in just a moment once we've gone to build and run. Then is HTML, we're going to simply add in false and as a bracket, and then finally self.present. We can quickly find it now. We need to find the present view controller. There we go. Present view controller, and what we're presenting is our MC, which we shortened it down to. Animated is to true, and then completion, we're going to put in there nil. Now, when you go to build and run, you will find that when you run it on the simulator and go to load up the mail view controller, it will crash the simulator. And that's just simply down to the fact that the simulator doesn't have the capabilities to display and run and send the email directly from it. So you will actually have to test this out on a real device. So don't get worried if it crashes on the simulator, it will do that. So what I'm going to do now then is build and run it to my device and show you the progress we've made so far, and then talk about a little bit more about the message body and the string and how it is all configured. So you can now see my device being mirrored to the screen at the moment. So what I'm going to do then is bring up all the fields here and let's put in my name. So we got Aaron. Email address, I'll just make one up, it's going to be all gobbledygook there, and message, again, it's going to be all gobbledygook. So I've dismissed the keyboard now, and when I get pressed to send, You can see it then loads up our mail view compose controller here. And you can see that the subject is set to Aaron because we set it to namefield.text. We're sending it to ABC at 123. Again, that's who we set it into our recipients. But this is the important part, the actual string of the message body. So you can see it says name, space, namefield.text. Again, name, space, namefield.text. Then we got the two \n, which again, a new line. We got two. So this creates two new lines. Email, then the email.text, which that's what was placed in within the email section. And again, for the message or continues. So you can see exactly how it configures when it goes to build and run and populates it. So there we go. We've simply created our contact form to display the text within it. But we're not quite finished there, because where it stands at the moment, we cannot send or dismiss this view from our screen. We now need to add a did finish with results function statement, which gives us the ability to perform actions depending on what happens within this view. So you can see if I press cancel, delete draft, nothing happens. It doesn't go anywhere. So back within Xcode then, we're going to create now a new function statement. And this is going to be our mail compose view controller did finish with results. So we need to create a simple switch statement. Now this switch statement will give us the ability to perform actions depending on the outcome of our mail compose view controller. Now the outcomes can either be that the mail got cancelled, it failed to send, maybe the user saved it as a draft, or maybe they sent it. There's 4 possible outcomes, and we can trigger actions to basically perform stuff when it happens. So why would you perform actions depending on the kind of state of what happened to the email? Well, you see many games and many applications that if you like them on Facebook, or if you kind of follow them on Twitter, they'll give you incentives within the app. They may even give you like an extra in-game currency. So very much like that, you could say in the application, oh, if you share our application to your friends via email, we'll give you an extra 100 gold within the application. And you can detect if that email got sent. So that's why you would maybe want to create actions for it. You don't have to, but it's just nice to know how to do it. So we create our switch statement here, which I'll zoom in a little bit more there. And it's going to be linked to our result. Now the result is going to be a raw value. So in the first case, our mf mail compose result, and we'll make our first one. Scroll down now to cancelled. So if the first result, that raw value was cancelled, and in here, we're just going to have it print in the debug area and say cancelled. There we go. Spell that correctly there. And then if I copy this and paste it in, so you've got 4 altogether, and then changing the value. So from cancelled, we'll have this one failed. Change that to failed. From cancelled here, we have another one for saved. And we can say this saved. And this one from cancelled to the last one, which would be sent. And we can simply say this sent there. So if you want actions to be performed, where we've got it to simply print, I'll space it out so you can see it a little bit better. So the line underneath it is the action it's going to perform before the next case. So all it's going to do, each of them, is print in the debug area. And you'll see that when we go to using the mail in the application, when we go to choose to cancel or send it. And at the end, we do our default and break to close that all up. Now, no matter what happens, we want the view to be dismissed and for us to go back to our application. So no matter what happens, we do self.dismiss view controller animated. We're going to set that to true. Completion, we're going to do nil. So this time, when I go to build and run now, we're able to dismiss from the mail view controller back to our application. So I'll build and run it once more on my device, and then we'll see exactly how it works. So now let's build and run. I'll go to type in my name. We can put in an email address. Let's go aaa@aaa.com. Message, I'm going to simply write hello, and then press the done button, and that dismisses our keyboard. Go to press send. It loads up our mail view controller. Subject is Aaron, my name Aaron, email aaa@aaa.com, message hello. Now then, I could choose to either send it, so if I press send, again, this is not going to go to an actual real email address. If that email address exists, then they're going to get in my email. But you can initially send then, it dismissed the mail view controller from our view back to our application. And the action we got it to basically do when it gets sent is say sent in our debug area, which you can now see. If I bring it up and then choose to cancel it, you can then see our debug area now says cancelled. So we can detect what basically happened within our email. So again, we could do stuff like reward our users for sending or sharing their application or the content if it got sent or stuff like that. So that's simply how you can create a simple contact form within our applications, have your users send you messages directly if you're creating a business app, and how we can detect if the mail got sent. And there we have it. We can now add contact forms within our applications, which is great for allowing users or potential new customers to contact you directly from the application. And once that message is sent, they're then taken back to the app and they can continue browsing. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, make sure you leave a like down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, just before you go, I'd like to thank you for watching this tutorial, and if you did enjoy it, make sure you click that big like button down below. And if you'd like to further your knowledge and progress within iOS 9, Xcode 7 for Swift 2 and Objective-C, where you can learn how to create 20 real-life applications, links for these will be below in the description of the video. And if you'd like to learn iOS development on the go, then make sure you check out one of our many iOS applications where you can learn how to create applications again within Objective-C and Swift. The links for these will also be in the description down below. And I'd just like to say one last time, if you did enjoy this video and it did help you out in any way, make sure you hit the big like button down below on the video, and make sure you check out our website geekylemon.com, where you can find the full source code for this tutorial and all the others we offer. And make sure you like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter so you can keep up to date with what's coming here at Geeky Lemon. So once more, let's thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.